name is Laura, and I'm one of the 4 commissioners working for the case of Ana Garcia's death. Ana Garcia was a 20-year-old undergraduate female student. She would work part-time at Gentry Life Science Building, and she would play soccer as an activity. She would play with her teammate Sam, whom they didn't get along that well. On August 18, 2020, at 10 a.m., Taylor Diaz reported her body found dead. 4 days before her death, she was also in the lab. She was working. Then 3 days before her death, she was also in the lab again, but she was with her friend Taylor, the one who found her dead, and Eric, her boyfriend. They were having fun, and they were just in the lab. Then, the day before her death, she went to a cafe at 7 p.m. and she took an espresso. With this, we can assume she was tired because when taking an espresso, it can help aid in concentration and it just gives you more of a boost of energy. So she was probably trying to get more awake, but we don't know why. On the scene of the crime, Anna was found on the floor inside of the Gentry Life Science Building. Her body was near the table where she had been prepping for a lab Dr. Opal had asked her to do the day before. It had been spotted that a fly had been around her, along with a note outside of her pocket. At the scene of the crime, it had been found of an overturned flask, along with hair on her shirt, her phone, blood spatter, and an adult blowfly. There had also been reported that there were strands of hair on her body. It has also been found that there had been 2 prints at the scene of the crime.
My name is Samaya, and I'm going to be talking about the digital evidence that I have in my notes. Most of the evidence are pointing towards Sam and Dominique, because Sam sent really nasty texts to Anna, and that could be a reason why he could have committed a crime of killing Anna. Also, Dominique was really mad at Anna because Anna got a scholarship to a college that they both applied to, but Anna was the only one who got a scholarship to it, so she could have committed the crime because of jealousy. Also, another suspect is Elsie, because they set up a meeting to prep up the lab where Anna was killed, and she set up another meeting, and it was the night when Anna was killed, so she could also committed the crime. That's all I.
Hello everybody, and then today we're going to be discussing Eric Piedmont and Ana Garcia and their statements in the polygraph exam. Okay, our top person of interest was Eric Piedmont and Dominique Hall. The reason why we suspect those two is because they were found, their blood was found at the crime scene. That's one reason. The second reason is because, well, for Eric Piedmont, he's a crazy ex-boyfriend. He's really messed up right now. That's pretty clear. And Dominique Hall, she was recently a scholarship Ana Garcia had won. She worked hard for, and she seemed to be really jealous of. And I don't remember anywhere in the passages where we read over the case analysis where it said that the scholarship would be passed to Dominique Hall, so it didn't seem she had nothing to gain from this killing. How we as a team collaborated and determined their trustworthiness of the statements. Well, let's start off for one. When Eric Hall was asked if he and Ana Garcia was getting along, well, how about I restate this? When Eric Piedmont was asked how him and the deceased victim was getting along, he said they were getting along good. They were not getting along good, and his heart rate spiked in that. So he was lying. Now Dominique Hall, on the other hand, she just seemed to be a little bit of a nervous wreck, but she seemed to tell the truth about most things. But there's just one common denominator that we cannot look past, which is who killed Ana Garcia. And that brings me to my next point. One of them were lying, that they slipped through the polygraph exams. Me and the team personally, we currently feel like Eric Piedmont was lying only because a crazy ex-boyfriend. Come on now, we've all had our fair shares with the crazies. It's okay. And Dominique Hall, she just does not seem like to kill when it never remotely said she didn't hear a scholarship. What happened, the way we chose those suspects, again, as I said, their blood was at the scene. And me personally, we still stick with the Eric Piedmont killed her. Let's stick on to our next thing. What would Dominique have to gain from killing her? Nothing. We're gonna find out how accurate we can connect those statements from what they said at the polygraph test with our next slide, technically video, when we discuss their social media footprint. That is all for today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hello, Commissioner. This is Ethan Dodson. We believe that Anna was murdered that night, and we have two suspects, Eric and Dominique. We believe Eric may have done it because his hair was found on Anna's body. We also think he could have done it because a note was found in Anna's pocket with his fingerprint on it, saying, "See you later." Wink emoji face. We believe that Dominique might have done it because during our search of Anna's phone, we found that a series of conversations were held between Dominique and Anna involving the scholarship they both applied for, but only Anna got the scholarship. So, there's kind of anger with Dominique, so that's motive. We also found during this phone search that Eric had to get something off his chest, but he couldn't, but it was hard for him to do, and he may have not told Anna, or did he, before she died. Now, something particular was that about these two suspects is that they both lied during the polygraph test. Also, there were two types of bloods found at the scene, type O and type B. Type O belonged to Anna, and the type B belonged to Eric and Dominique both, because they were both type B. Now, we are going to rule this death as a homicide by severe blood force trauma to the head, by either Eric or Dominique slamming her head down onto the counter where her body fell, and the impact killed her instantly when she hit her head really hard. My reasoning for this conclusion. Well, the blood drops that were on the ground were from the blood that Anna hit her head on. There was also a bruise that she had from bumping with Sam, so there may have been extra blood. But when she hit her head on the counter, it was at the tip of the counter. So there may have been a lot of blood there where it dripped down, also to where her head blood also dripped down. So we rule it as a homicide because Eric or Dominique, both of their blood was found at the scene. Now, any unknowns in this case? We do not have a lot of unknowns. We have a couple. What was Eric trying to get off what was bothering Eric in the social media, in the search that we found? What was bothering him? And there really isn't much of unknowns. The confirmed death, or how she died, confirmed, is one of our main unknowns. We also, another unknown is during the polygraph test, Eric and Dominique both lied. It's an unknown why they lied, whether they were nervous or they were actually lying. So that's an unknown. In order to wrap up this case, we will need to perform a toxicology and an autopsy. Toxicology will give us what she ate, what she drank within 24 hours. So we can tell if she was poisoned, maybe. In the lab, there was a beaker full of strange substance, which we don't know what it was, so a toxicology could work. There could also be, the autopsy is also our main thing, because this can tell us how she died, and this can also tell us if there was, some DNA that was foreign, and we can kind of tell if that was Anna's or Eric's or Dominique's. We also need a confession. We need the killer to come forward if it's a homicide. If it's accidental, still we need someone to come forward and say, hey, I accidentally did this. My bad. And that finishes up our report. We have reported on everything that you asked, Commissioner, and we hope that this helps in the case going forward. On behalf of my team and the police department, I thank you for this job opportunity, and we will talk to you in person, hopefully later. Goodbye.